Oh shit, it's list time. And it's also Christmas time, so I'm wearing my Christmas present, my Denzel Curry Taboo t-shirt. Yeah. What's up everybody, this is Matt, and I have not used this channel in how long? Like 9 months now? But some of you may know I am moving my album reviews that I've been doing on my blog to this channel, so I'm gonna start doing album reactions and reviews here instead of on the blog. If you're new to the channel, you haven't heard that, but there you go. Hi, how's it going? So as some of you guys may know, it's list season because it's the end of the year and everyone's making their year-end lists, like best albums, best singles, worst singles, blah blah blah. But I'm weird, and I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to do every Billboard Hot 100 top 10 song from worst to best. I've arranged them in 5 different categories. The ones I hated, the ones I didn't like but didn't hate, the ones that were just okay, the ones I liked but didn't love, and then the ones that I loved. There's a lot that I love just because I'm pretty easy to please. And I wanted to do this because I've listened to every song that peaked in the top 10 this year, and it was something I did last year, if you guys remember. I also did every #1 single, but I decided I'm not going to do that this time because that would just be repetitive. So I'm going to be doing this, and I need a drink. Need to breathe. So this year there were a lot more singles that peaked in the top 10. In fact, according to my list, because I have them arranged here on my laptop, there were 77 top 10 peaking songs this year. And I think the reason behind that is pretty fair to see. Streaming led to a lot more album bombs, which meant that there were a lot of albums coming out that were 25 songs long because they were made in attempts to game the streams and make non-singles chart. Hi Drake. So there were a lot more singles in the top 10 this year, which means I'm going to have a lot to cover, which means I'm going to try as hard as I can to rapid fire through all of these because last year's video was 22 minutes long and I don't want that. So I'm going to try to do this in as rapid fire style as possible. And if you see me constantly looking over this way, it's just because I'm looking at my laptop because that's where the list is. So with that said, let's jump in with the awful top 10 peaking singles. Number 77, Fifi by 6ix9ine featuring Nicki Minaj. Why did this peak in the top 10? This is the one that I dislike the most because it's just hideous. The production is not good on it. 6ix9ine can't sing no matter how much auto-tune you throw on his voice. And Nicki Minaj just being on here, it just unfortunately reeks of desperation to me. I'm sorry, Nicki fans, but I just feel like it's her trying to stay popular by working with someone that's bigger and younger. So, ugh. It was really bad. Number 76, Walk It, Talk It by Migos featuring Drake. Walk it like I talk it. 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 It's so boring. It's just boring. Not even Drake's verse can save this. And I actually kind of like Drake, and we'll see that later in the list, but not even his verse could save this. Number 75, this one's gonna probably get a little bit of controversy, but Sad by XXXTentacion. I'm sorry, even in the context of his passing, I cannot get behind this song. I mean, there are songs from the album that I did like Changes and Moonlight, but I just can't get behind a song where X is guilt-tripping a lover into staying in a toxic relationship by threatening suicide. I get saying, you know, I can't live without you, but saying I will kill myself if you leave just feels like it's guilt-tripping, and it just feels toxic to me. Really, the only reason this wasn't lower on the list is because the melody on the hook is kind of fun, at least. Otherwise, this is a song that even in the context of XXX's passing, I just can't get behind. There are songs that X has made that I do actually honestly listen to now that I enjoy, but this is just not one of them. Number 74, I'm Upset by Drake. Yeah, this song was just cheesy. It's so dull and lifeless, and it's just a really silly song. I know Drake is like the king of silliness, and sometimes his silliness can actually work to make a song fun, but in this case, it's just, so murky and dull. And then the last one that sucked, I feel like some people, this might be controversial to a few, but I'm gonna say Mo Bamba by Sheck Wes. The only reason this isn't lower is because it actually has some dumb fun appeal to it. Otherwise, I get bored by it. Like, I can't actually sit here and just be like, I just think it's boring. Sorry. Alright, now these are the ones that I just thought were bad, but not really aggravating or terrible. Just songs that I really thought were just dull. Number 72, Drip Too Hard by Lil Baby and Gunna. I mean, they sound okay, but this is like one of those songs that like, a minute after listening to it, I don't even remember how it goes. It's just boring. Number 71, Taste by Tyga featuring Offset. I know Tyga's comeback was like the comeback of the century, and everyone was talking about it, but really the only thing that made this song even remotely interesting to me was the production. Tyga's performance didn't really entice me, and not even Offset. Offset sounded bored here. Number 70, we had No Limit by G-Eazy featuring A$AP Rocky and Cardi B. Another example of a song that literally I forget how it goes a minute after listening to it. This one did not grow on me at all throughout the year. Number 69, Motorsport by Migos featuring Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. It's like I said in last year's video, it's just an overly auto-tuned sequel to Bad and Bougie that Nicki and Cardi just run with. They're great on it, otherwise the song itself is just not all that interesting. I think I saw a comment recently from someone saying that Migos have given us the same song for the last 5 years. And to a degree, I see that. Number 68, Bad at Love by Halsey. It just got grating to me throughout the year. It was one that I wasn't really all that in love with last year, and this year it just didn't get any better. Number 67, Thunder! Feel the thunder! Lightning and the thunder! By Imagine Dragons. Ugh. Repeat listens only made this one worse for me. It was a song that I feel like I couldn't escape from, and it was just so dull. I did not care for it at all. Number 66, Filthy by Justin Timberlake. I feel like this one, the production was just too overbearing and too overproduced, and I felt like Justin really didn't have much vocal charm on it, so this was really a disappointing lead-off single for an album that really was just not very good. Number 65, Meant to Be by BB Rexa and Florida Georgia Line. Fun fact, I only learned how to pronounce BB Rexha's name correctly last night. I actually surprisingly liked her debut album a lot, but this song just felt like very standard Florida Georgia Line style stuff with BB Rexa on it. Really, this song just doesn't entice me, it just bores me, and in several ways kind of annoys me. Number 64, I Love It by Kanye West and Lil Pump. I like the memes, and the production's kinda cool. That's about all I'm getting out of the song, though. Alright, now, these are the songs that I thought were just okay. Not songs that I loved, not songs that I hated. They were fine. They were there, they filled the charts, and were decent enough. Number 63, this might be a controversial pick, but Freaky Friday by Lil Dicky featuring Chris Brown. Yeah, I know, the lyrics on this one are very questionable, but I do think there is some fun factor to the song, even if it does just feel like very standard Chris Brown material. It does sound like a lot of what he's been on, and given that he released a 45-song album last year, the less of him the better. But, you know, there's fun factor to it. Number 62, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang by Lil Pump. I mean, again, there's an audience for this. I mentioned this in my list last year. It's decent enough. I can see the appeal of it. It's dumb fun. That's all there is to it. Number 61, Yes Indeed by Lil Baby featuring Drake. I like Drake's verse on this thing, but I really didn't care much for Lil Baby himself. This was another one of those cases, I'm sure there's a lot of those throughout the year, where Drake sells the song himself and the other artist, you're kind of just like, what are they doing there? You start thinking it's his song and not the actual artist's song. At number 60, Chun-Li by Nicki Minaj. I didn't really love the song. I do like some of the bounce it has to it, but as a gamer myself, I have to ask Nicki, where did you learn that Chun-Li is the bad guy of Street Fighter? We're gonna need a conversation. I don't even play Street Fighter that much, and I know that Chun-Li's not the bad guy. But you know, it has some fun factor to it, and I see why fans like it, even if for me there's just a little too much King Kong. Yes, there's King Kong. Really King Kong? There's the King Kong. I had to, I'm sorry. Number 59, Say Something by Justin Timberlake featuring Chris Stapleton. I was kind of waiting for one of those two to actually say something, but you know, it does have a nice feel to it, and it is better than the other singles that he dropped off this album. I'll take it over Supplies any day of the week. Number 58, Diplomatic Immunity by Drake. Anyone remember this one? Don't worry, I don't really remember it either. I remember that some of the lyrical ideas were kind of cool, but it just didn't really stick with me in the way that like God's Plan did. God's Plan was really catchy, and it was immediate. As soon as I listened to that Scary Hours EP, I really enjoyed it. But Diplomatic Immunity, I just thought was kind of cool, and that was it. Number 57, Fake Love by BTS. 56. I thought it was great getting to see a K-pop song finally hit the top 10 on the charts, because I've been hearing people talk about K-pop for years now. So it's nice to see that a song finally crossed over. The song itself is kind of catchy. I like the hook a bit. It's nothing that really excites me. It's something where I kind of think I'm more in love with the idea of a K-pop song being in the top 10 than I am in love with the K-pop song that made the top 10. Hopefully though, there's going to be more crossover and other K-pop songs will end up reaching the top 10. If that's the case, I'm willing to listen to them. This is a decent start, I'll give it that. Number 56, Sunflower by Post Malone and Sway Lee. It's relaxing, nice tropical vibe to it. Post and Sway sound pretty good on it. Only problem I really have is that it just does kind of feel a little bit too factory produced and very clearly made for the movie. Not the worst movie song that I've heard this year. Obviously the Venom theme song exists. It's not amazing, but you know, it works. It works for what it's trying to do. Number 55, Mia by Bad Bunny featuring Drake. I kind of like some of the production on this one, and I think that Drake sounds good on it. I just don't really care much for the lyrical content. It feels too possessive to me, and I don't care for Bad Bunny's vocals either. I think his kind of gruff tone doesn't fit as well with Drake's very smooth tone. And then the last one that I think is okay, number 54, ZZ by Kodak Black featuring Travis Scott and Offset. I'm a little disappointed because I love the production on this one, and I'm sure a lot of other people did because there were a lot of freestyles that came out this year with this beat. And I think that Travis and Offset sound good on it, but for me, the only thing that kills the song is Kodak. I think it's a case where I love everything about it except the lead artist. It's definitely a song I've come back to, but it's one of those things where I come back to it and skip around Kodak's parts. Alright, now into the songs that I thought were good. Maybe not great, but I did enjoy them. Number 53, we have Kevin's Heart by J. Cole. Even though this was one of my favorite tracks off of J. Cole's album, I didn't really love it as much as some of the other top 10 peaking songs this year. I didn't come back to it quite as much, but it is a nice mix of some singy moments and solid rap flows from J. Cole. Number 52, we have I Like It by Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin. Honestly, not one of my favorite songs off of Invasion of Privacy, but I do see the appeal of it. It's got a fun Latin flair to it, some good vocal performances. I think one of the things I was a little disappointed about is that having heard Cardi B sing in Spanish on La Modelo, I was kind of hoping that on this track we would see a little bit of Spanish out of her, but we didn't. Beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Number 51, All the Stars by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Last year I pronounced her name SZA, so I'm glad I got it right this time. Yeah, again, I didn't love this as much as some of the other tracks off of the Black Panther album, but I do think it had a very catchy chorus. SZA sounds great on it, the production's very nice, and Kendrick, of course, kills it on his verse. So it's definitely an appealing song. I've definitely come back to it quite a bit, just maybe not as much as some of the songs higher up. Number 50, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. I mentioned this last year, and I'll mention it again this year. It's a good song, I just don't care for it outside of Christmas. It's something that only really plays well in the context of the Christmas holiday. Number 49, this one just made the top 10 this week, so right to the cutoff. It's The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams. Again, just like I said about Mariah Carey, iconic Christmas hit, maybe even one of my favorites. I just don't really see myself listening to it outside of Christmas. It doesn't play as well outside of that. Great track, great song, great Christmas hit, but soon as Christmas season's over, no point in listening to it, and that's why it's lower on the list. Number 48, Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD. Again, this one didn't stick with me quite as much as some of the bigger songs this year, and it's not one that I return to quite as much, but I do like Juice WRLD's vocals. The hook is rather captivating, the production's interesting enough. I definitely see the appeal of it, and it is solid. Number 47, Love Lies by Khalid and Normani. Doesn't have the best hook for me, but I like the instrumentals on this one. I think that Khalid and Normani have great vocal interplay on it, and I think it's a song that could grow on me a bit more if I give it a few more listens in 2019. Number 46, Don't Matter to Me by Drake featuring Michael Jackson. I know, it's grave robbing. Everyone's gonna talk about that. And I know Michael sounds more like The Weeknd on this track. He probably didn't want this on the album, but I think it's got some nice enough production. Drake and Michael both sound good on it, and it's just kind of catchy. I have fun going back to it. I like singing along to it. That's just me, I guess. Number 45, Don't Cry by Lil Wayne featuring XXXTentacion. Again, it's controversial because he not only grave dug X's vocals, but apparently didn't know who X was before he died. But I think that what he used for X was great. X sounds good on here, as does Wayne, and the song is legitimately emotional. might not be one that I've returned to quite as much as some of the other hits on C5, but I do like it. I do think it's a pretty solid track. Number 44, Let It Fly by Lil Wayne featuring Travis Scott. I love the hazy and nocturnal production on this track. Travis and Wheezy both sound great on it. I think my only real problems are that the chipmunk vocals on it can be a little bit annoying, and that for all the rhyme flexing that Genius.com said that Wayne does, it kind of feels like he rhymes the same words a bit too much, but still I do think it is a great track and I do enjoy it. Number 43, Happier by Marshmello featuring Bastille. I hope I said his name right. This one could have been a little higher on my list if I had a little more time with it and if I was a little more into the beat drop on this one, but otherwise I think it is an emotional track. I like Bastille's vocals on it. Marshmello is pretty solid in terms of his production. This is another one that I think will be a grower for me. If I give it a few more listens, I think I'll end up loving it. Alright, now into the tracks I loved, and there's gonna be a lot on here because I loved a lot of music this year. I just happen to like music, guys. Go figure. So there's 42 tracks that I loved, and I feel like a lot of people are going to hate me for loving so many songs, especially some that are pretty standard or pretty meh, but screw it. I like music. Let's talk about the music that I really liked. Number 42 was Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne featuring Kendrick Lamar. Great, very emotional piano-driven instrumentals. I love the lyrical themes that Wayne and Kendrick throw at each other and how they play cat and mouse in the story on the song. I think having Kendrick's verse come from the T-Pab era only helps, and I definitely can see why it's one of the more popular and better hits off of the Carter 5. Number 41, Emotionless by Drake. It is polarizing because of the Mariah Carey sample, but admittedly I actually thought it was very fitting, very nice, and I think Drake does legitimately appear pretty vulnerable on this track. It's really interesting and I dig it. I like where it's going and I like listening to it. Number 40, I was really surprised with this one, Without Me by Halsey. I didn't have a ton of time with this one, but I thought it was a really emotional, really vulnerable track for Halsey. I thought vocally she sounded great on it. There was some really dark production as well. I think it's actually one of the more enticing tracks that I've heard that Halsey's been attached to. If this is supposed to be the lead-off single to her next album, I think she definitely caught my attention, I'll give her that much, and I really enjoy it. Number 39, Lucky You by Eminem featuring Joyner Lucas. Hearing these two super lyrical, amazing rappers just go at it and just spit hard, rapid-fire lyrical bars, it's just exactly what I wanted to see, and I'll take it over Revival any day of the week. Number 38 is The Ringer by Eminem. I know this one's a little polarizing, but I think what got me excited about it is that after Revival, I just wanted to see Eminem ill out and show us that he could be his old self, so I got all that and more on this track and I really enjoyed it. Number 37, Uproar by Lil Wayne featuring Swizz Beatz. Banger piano production from Swizz Beatz. Wayne's hook on this one is one of the catchiest on the Carter 5. His flows are really solid. He's got a lot of charisma on this one. Easily one of my favorites off of the Carter 5, and I just love this track. It's so much fun to listen to. Number 36, Nonstop by Drake. Again, I should not be giving Drake this much love because everyone hates Drake, but I like this song. It's catchy, and even if I feel like it's Look Alive Part 2, I do think that the Take Heath production here is kind of fun, kind of catchy. Drake sounds good on it, even if, you know, he is a little just too monotone at times. And I think it's just a lot of fun. I enjoy listening to it. Number 35, Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper from the A Star Is Born soundtrack. Again, if I had a little more time with this could have been even higher, but I think simplicity is key here, and I really love the acoustic guitar melodies and the beautiful vocal interplay between Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I didn't watch A Star Is Born, so I don't know much about the movie or how it plays in the context of the movie, but I do think it's a very emotional track and I really enjoy it. Number 34, High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. I know their latest album was really polarizing. I personally really enjoyed it, and I think that this is easily one of the stronger tracks off it. The production is really captivating. I love Brendan's vocals throughout this one. The hook is really catchy and just really exciting. I dig it a lot. I'm not super familiar with Panic at the Disco's material, but I heard this album because someone requested it, and I loved it. I love the album and I love this track. Strike me down. Number 33, Stargazing by Travis Scott. This one really only got here because of the album bomb, but, you know, I love Travis's hook, I love the production on this one, and mother of God, the beat switch is amazing here. I really think that Astroworld was so much better than Birds in the Trap because Travis got back that weird beat switching kind of feel, and it was more exciting here than it was on Birds in the Trap, so I really dig it, and Stargazing was a great track. Number 32, Better Now by Post Malone. Not quite as infectious for me as the other two tracks that we'll talk about later on in the list, but I think that it's a very emotional track. It's easy to get into your feelings while listening to it. Post's vocals are powerful and emotional, and it just shows me again that he has a great ear for some really catchy hooks. Number 31, we have KOD by J. Cole, which is also the name of the album. I love the hook on this one. It's really catchy. The instrumentals are rather minimal. J. Cole, of course, his technicality is really strong, and overall, it's just a track that I really have come back to quite a bit and really enjoyed. Not as much as another song we'll get into in a little bit. Number 30, Never Be the Same by Camila Cabello. I really love the emotional feel in this one, and I love, again, that it explores a different side of Camila that we didn't really see when she was with Fifth Harmony. The hook is really gorgeous, and I think that even when she kind of goes into her rasp, she sounds amazing on this song. Number 29, this is one that I feel like is going to get me a bit of controversy. The Middle by Zed, Maren Morris, and Gray. I know, the Target commercial song. I don't know, guys. It's catchy. I just have fun listening to it. Don't hate, appreciate. Yeah, really, that's kind of just what it is. I thought the production was really fun in this one. Zed, actually, I tend to like his production a lot. The hook was catchy, and even though Maren Morris apparently was battling with some like throat problems when she sang this song, I thought that she sounded good on it. Can't help it. I like it. Number 28, New Rules by Dua Lipa. This is one that I really didn't listen to all that much in 2017, but since it made it to the top 10, I was able to give it a listen along with her debut album, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this track. The hook was really catchy, and some repeat listens helped it to really grow on me. Number 27, a song that again is surprising to me. I didn't think I'd love this one that much. Youngblood by 5 Seconds of Summer. The production is really energetic. I love the vocals on this one. The hook is one of the catchiest this year. It's just a song that was really easy to get into, even as someone that doesn't listen to 5 Seconds of Summer, and just easy to nod along to and just really, really, really enjoy. Number 26, again, I'm really scared I'm gonna get hate for this pick because it seems like everyone actually just actively dislikes this song, but it is No Brainer by DJ Khaled featuring Justin Bieber, Chance the Rapper, and Quavo. I know it's I'm the One 2.0 without Lil Wayne, but again, I just was really hooked on the production here. Justin's vocals on the hook are great, and Quavo and Chance have fun on their verses too. I don't know what it is. I don't know what draws me back to the song so much. Same thing with I'm the One, but I don't know, I just like it. Number 25, Girls Like You by Maroon 5 featuring Cardi B. This actually was originally the only song outside of bonus tracks that I actually enjoyed off of Maroon 5's last album, Red Pill Blues. So I was actually kind of excited to see it released as a single. Very light, emotional track. I like the guitar instrumentals on this one. Adam Levine sounds great on it, and Cardi B's verse is fun enough too. So I dig this. I'll take it. Better than most of the other stuff that came off of that dreadful album. Number 24, again, I was really surprised at the fact that I enjoyed this one so much. It's Going Bad by Meek Mill featuring Drake. Really dig the very cutthroat beat on this one. Drake mixes his sing-rapping feel super well here, and Meek Mill's verse is pretty fun too. This is a track that I think got a lot of hype just because it was like, oh my god, after all the beef, Drake and Meek Mill are back to making a song together. But at least they made a really fun one. I really dig this. Number 23, here's that J. Cole song we were talking about, ATM. I love this track. I love the hook. It's super catchy. His flows are amazing on this one. I love the way it talks about money and how people are trying so hard to chase money. The beat's fun as well. It's easily one of my favorites off of J. Cole's latest album. Number 22, God Is a Woman by Ariana Grande. I love her vocals here. The hook is super catchy, and even if it's very different sounding from a lot of her other songs, the beat is really fun, and I just really, really dig what she was going for throughout Sweetener. Speaking of Ariana, number 21 is Thank You Next, which is currently the #1 song in the world. I'm glad she finally got a #1, and I think this is a pretty solid one. I know not a lot of people have fallen in love with it, but I personally really like it. It's catchy. I love the hook on this one. Ariana sounds great on it. And maybe it's just me, but that Mac Miller line kind of hit me pretty hard. And I kind of like how, you know, you think of a post-breakup song and you think of like anger and like hatred and resentment. So I think it's kind of cool that, you know, there's like a self-love anthem for people when they break up with someone. I think I like that. And it's executed pretty well here. Way to go, Ariana. Number 20, my man The Weeknd comes in here with, I worded that weirdly, with Call Out My Name from his latest EP, My Dear Melancholy. Very emotional track, super catchy hook. Abel sounds amazing on it. And of course, I have to say that I think that this and the EP, which I'll talk about this a little bit later, is a perfect mix between the old school sound that got Abel big, that the old fans love, and the vocal maturity that he's shown with Beauty Behind the Madness and Starboy. So I think it's the perfect blend, and it's the perfect compromise between the two. So I really enjoyed that. Shout out to Weeknd on that one. Number 19, I mentioned it earlier, Look Alive by Block Boy JB featuring Drake. I know Drake really runs away with this one, but I actually do kind of like Block Boy's verse as well. The beat is a lot of fun. The chorus is one of the catchiest that I've heard this year. And it's a song that just really sticks with me. It's a lot of fun. And this was one of those moments where we were all looking at Drake and we had just thought for a minute, this year would go amazingly for him. And then it turns out he had a kid that he was hiding from us. I mean, granted, I like a lot of the music he's put out this year. Don't know what that says about him. It says more about me, but whatever. Number 18, this one was lower on my list last year, but it really grew on me a lot. Bodak Yellow by Cardi B. Maybe it was listening to it again in the context of Invasion of Privacy, but I thought it was super catchy. The hook is a lot of fun. Cardi's confidence, of course, is great. The beat's great. I dig it. I really do. Number 17, Pray For Me by The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar. I love the super bouncy production on this one. Abel's vocals, once again, are fantastic. You can always count on him to sound great on a song. The hook is a lot of fun, and then Kendrick, of course, coming through with some really great references to the film, and just an overall really solid verse. For a movie soundtrack, this one did it right. Number 16, I wonder if we remember that this even charted in the top 10. Yikes by Kanye West. I thought the hook was super catchy on this one. The production was really solid, as always, because it's Kanye. There were some really clever bars in here, but I think what I really liked about it is that this was a year that really tested my anxiety and often made me think that I had bipolar disorder. So hearing Kanye on this song proclaim that his bipolar disorder, even if he doesn't actually have it, was a superpower, kind of just made me feel better about myself. It was like, if he can really sit here and, you know, take this thing that he's been given and just really make it feel good, I can do with my anxiety. Just kind of a perfect case of when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Yes, that's the best way I could put it. Number 15. This might be shocking to be so high up here, but Stir Fry by Migos. Again, you might be shocked just because, Matt, he doesn't even like Migos. Why is he putting this song up here? Well, it's damn catchy. Maybe I also really like it because it sounds different than the typical Migos song, and it doesn't sound like something that they've given us over and over and over again. So maybe that has a lot to do with it. And I don't think this single-handedly saved their year, but I think they all sound great on it. The production is really strong, and it's probably the best Migos song that I've personally heard. Number 14, this is a song I won't talk too much about because I talked about it on my list last year. Too Good at Goodbyes by Sam Smith. Once again, just a really emotional track with great vocals and a super solid hook that I just continued to listen to all throughout 2018. It just stayed stuck in my head, and I still loved going back to it. Number 13, In My Feelings by Drake. I did not think this song would be good because I saw the title In My Feelings and immediately memed it because, you know, Drake's always in his feelings, so I thought that this would be him embracing the meme. Instead, he kind of just embraced the New Orleans bounce trap sound that made Nice for What great, and we'll talk about Nice for What later, and he kind of just infused that with God's Plan and just managed to make this. Good enough for me, I liked it. Number 12, Psycho by Post Malone featuring Ty Dolla $ign. This felt more like a sequel to Rockstar, which again we'll talk about a little bit later, with a little bit of a more emotional, less turn-up-y kind of vibe to it, but it really worked. Post's vocals are amazing on it, as are Ty Dolla $ign's, and I think they play off each other pretty well here. Really like this one. Number 11, another song that was on my list last year and I won't talk too much about it. Havana by Camila Cabello featuring Young Thug. Again, super catchy, love the production here. Camila and Young Thug both sound great on it. It just continued to stick around, especially with her debut album. That really helped out a lot. At number 10, we have This Is America by Childish Gambino. I was actually ready for this to land higher on my list, but I want to point out what Mark from Spectrum Pulse had previously said. This is a song that I think needs a music video. I know it sounds weird and it might seem strange that just taking out a few gunshots changes the song that much, but really I think for me it adds to the song. When I'm hearing the song and I don't hear those gunshots, it doesn't hit as hard for me. That said, it's still great sounding. I love the percussion on this. It mixes so many different styles. There's some great vocals. Gambino sounds super confident and charismatic on this one. I just think it's a song that, like I said, needs the music video, and that's probably why it didn't land higher on the list. At number 9, Kill Shot by Eminem. Yes, a diss track landed in the top 10, and why? Because it's scathing. It is a great track. It is total lyrical destruction of MGK, which I mean, I don't think that's really the most difficult thing to do, because saying that Rap Devil was the best MGK song in a while is like saying, this is the best unseasoned dry piece of chicken I've ever eaten in my life. But you know, it felt like M just kind of like was getting poked at repeatedly by MGK and then just responded by punching him directly in the face. And not only were the lyrics hard hitting, but I think that M's constantly switching flows were really exciting, and the beat was so strong that I feel like this is a song that could have worked even if it wasn't a diss track. If it wasn't a diss track, this could have been a great hit, and it could have even stuck around longer in the charts. It could have stuck around in the top 10 even longer once the novelty wore off. But even if it is just a diss track, it's fire. I love it. Shady's back. Tell a friend. Number 8, Sicko Mode by Travis Scott, which also has Drake on it, even though he's not credited. And it also has Sway Lee, but he's not in the music video for some reason. Either way, I love the twists and turns that the song takes in its production. It goes down a lot of different routes. Travis's vocals, of course, are great. Drake, his flows are exciting. And even with the whole joke about, you know, like a light, you know, how silly that part of the song is, I still think it's a lot of fun. It's super catchy, super infectious, and I just love it. At number 7, now I'm so happy that Ariana Grande finally got a #1 song with Thank You Next. However, I kind of wish that No Tears Left to Cry was her first #1, because I think it's one of her best songs. I love her vocals. She sounds super angelic on this one. The change in sound with the kind of somewhat trap-inspired percussion is really, really enticing, and the hook is super catchy. She rides the beat super well. It's just such a great song. I kind of wish this was her first #1. If not for the fact that the Drakening happened this year, then maybe it could have been. Number 6, I mentioned it earlier, Rockstar by Post Malone featuring 21 Savage. This one just never got out of my head. It's still super catchy. The hook's great. 21 Savage sounds amazing on it. It's just too much fun. And hearing it again, thanks to Post's latest album, also really helped. Number 5, again, I feel like I'm gonna get flack for this pick, maybe not. Perfect by Ed Sheeran, still my future wedding song. All I'm gonna say. At number 4, we have God's Plan by Drake, the year's biggest song. It was #1 on the year-end Hot 100, and it is super catchy. I love the beat on here. Drake sounds good on it as he mixes singing and is rapping throughout. The hook is catchy. It's a song that just never got out of my head, and it was one that I really enjoyed coming back to over and over again. At number 3, we have Boot Up by Ella Mai, just super infectious piece of old school R&B. I love Ella's vocals on this song. The hook is one of the best. I feel like this is one of those songs that could go down potentially as just a timeless piece of R&B. I love it. I'm happy that Ella Mai had such a great year this year. I hope she only gets bigger. I really do. I think this is a great start, and I just can't wait to see where she goes from here. At number 2, I was really happy that this was released as a single this year, because when I heard it on the album originally, I loved it. Finesse by Bruno Mars featuring Cardi B. This song was just amazing. I was really sad that it didn't get to #1 on the charts. I really wanted it to, but either way, super slick song, super slick throwback song. I love Bruno's vocals on it. The hook's super catchy, and Cardi B is used pretty effectively here. I wish she was used a little bit more, but otherwise, I think that she had a great first verse, and she kind of comes in later on and really helps the song out. So I dig it. I really do. And my #1 favorite top 10 peaking single of the year. You probably already know what it is because I said we would talk about it later, but I haven't talked about it yet. Nice for What by Drake. Yeah, I was really surprised with all the criticism of Drake this year that my #1 song was a Drake song. But this is the song that I think I've gone back to probably the most this year. I really dig it. I love the change in sound for Drake. Again, the New Orleans bounce style really works for him. I think that the hook is super catchy. The lyrics are actually really great in that, you know, it's a song about female empowerment, which you wouldn't really expect out of Drake. I think he sounds amazing on it as he kind of sing raps throughout it. The Lauryn Hill sample in here is used so tastefully, and I think this might be one of Drake's best singles. I kind of wish it had a little more chart success than God's Plan, and In My Feelings for that matter. But either way, I really love this, and no matter what Drake went through this year, positive or negative, no matter how we were talking about him, I'm glad that I'm able to say that one of the best hits that came out this year was one that came from him. And it's nice that there was a song that came out this year from Drake that seemed to be mostly liked universally. So shout out to Drake for this one. Long live the power of women. I know that sounds really weird, but given that this is a female empowerment song, it's a pretty damn good one. So yeah, that's 77 songs right there. I can't wait to hear a lot of these more and more, but I also can't wait to blank some of these out of my head. Either way though, what are your favorite or least favorite top 10 peaking songs this year? If you made it through this whole video, congratulations. And you can just go down in the comments and tell me how wrong I am. As long as you keep it civil, then go ahead. Either way, thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna have a few more lists coming soon, so stay tuned for those. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.